pneumonia and a boogie woogie flu. Want some Darwin, baby, that ain't all.
If you came here for an intro, you're in the wrong place, buddy.
Yes. You should know better by now.
Turn right around.
We don't do those here.
Choke up on that mic a little bit.
We don't want your intro here.
I don't think this person's bringing... This person I just made up, they're not, like, bringing an intro.
Oh, okay.
They came,
neither are we.
All right. They came expecting one, but...
Okay.
All right, whatever.
What?
It's movie time.
Movie time. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like, I'm not sick of it because I don't... I mean, do I get sick of things?
Yes.
Oh. Well, we've been doing Just Enough Trope for over 7 years now.
Yes, we have.
So, no, that's not right. It's been a while.
It's close to that. 6-7 years.
So, I don't know why I feel like or sound like I don't want to do this.
Well, I mean, maybe sometimes we don't feel like recording when we record.
You know what would help?
What?
You ever seen The Hunt for Red October?
I
put it on your list.
Okay, I think I have.
Okay,
it's a submarine movie.
Just a shot in the dark, huh?
I know it is.
No firing solution.
Wow.
Tubes 1 and 2.
Right.
Yeah, it's a submarine movie.
Yeah.
And in the submarine movie, there is the Red October is a submarine. It's an experimental sub developed by the Russian Navy, and it uses a cavitation drive, which is not, I don't know, and it's not really a real thing, but we've experimented on like quote unquote stealth submarine drives in the real world. And what it does is it sucks water in. I think they say that it's like magnetic or something like that in the film, but somehow it just sucks water in the front and pushes it out the back.
All right.
You know, so it doesn't have a screw, it doesn't have a propeller.
Sure.
It makes a lot of noise. And so it's not like totally silent, but it's functionally silent for most sonar operators on competing subs.
Sure.
Like accused sex offender Jeffrey Jones says in the movie, it sounds like whales humping or something like that.
Great.
Well, the thing is that I forgot why I brought this up.
No!
Let's just get to what a great half a story.
You were talking about movies and being sick of talking about movies, and
but I'm not.
Oh yeah, I know you're not.
We're not going to get there.
Oh okay.
We'll never get there.
I
feel like out of my many talents, as an active listener, one of my greatest talents is literally just picking right up with somebody else's conversation. So if somebody's talking about something and then they're like, squirrel, and they're about, what was I talking about? And here you go, on a silver platter.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
That skill is not transmittable, I've learned.
No, it's not.
Well, as long as you agree. What's your movie for today?
My movie is called The Prestige. It is a Christopher Nolan film, and one that I'm kind of like, considering when it came out, I'm kind of surprised that I didn't see it because it came out right between the first and the second Batman film. But I'd never seen it before. So kind of wanted to check it out and see what it was all about.
Why The Hunt for Red October? It was literally
going to talk about how it's so hot in here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Got it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
All you had to do, let me instruct you for the future.
Okay.
All you had to do with your active listening is to hear the alarm going off in the next room.
Yeah, I hear that.
Now, you're going to turn it off.
I am going to.
And I'm going to vamp for a while and tell my story. So all I want is a air conditioning system that is like the drive, the experimental caterpillar drive of the Red October, which is to say that it moves air through some possibly magnetic means, creating no noise, no ambient noise in the room. That must be what professional, not that we're not professionals, but let's say professional, real decked out studios have, right? Because Terry Gross ain't sitting around in her underwear interviewing people.
No, and she's not in a hot box either, I'm assuming.
But, like
like just dripping.
like Django Unchained.
Well, I
What? See, when I said she's not sitting around in her underwear, I wasn't referring to her formality. I was referring to the fact that it was really hot.
I know. I guess you're
You
right.
know,
Yeah. Okay.
It was what is that?
An analogy.
An analogy, a metomony, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
But at least we're on the same page.
All right.
I also don't remember if or when I saw The Prestige. It was right after.
Does that say something about the movie?
Well, okay, full disclosure, it's a busy week, so we're double dipping a little bit because we just talked about The Prestige on Just Enough Trope, but it's a film you haven't seen.
Yes.
And I think you've got all of Christopher Nolan's films on your list in one way or another, so it works. But the fact of the matter is that it's a movie that came out, and this is right after Memento and Batman Begins.
Yes.
And so Christopher Nolan was, and really still is, in a lot of ways, the premier filmmaker in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people are like, this is great. This is really great. Ricky Jay, wow.
Right.
They always do these movies about magic, and then he's just like a small part of them.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, and then for a year or two afterwards, there were these think pieces that were like, oh, the Prestige. Here's what it really means. Here's the twist.
Right.
It's actually about filmmaking. It's what you have to do to the audience.
Yeah.
You give them a premise or a pledge, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the action or the turn, and then there's some kind of twist
Reveal.
or prestige.
Yeah, right.
That's what it's about. And then the clock dawned on the second decade of the 21st millennium, or which one is it?
Yeah. I don't know.
on the year 2010, and
Yes.
Nobody talked about this film anymore.
Nope.
Because I think everybody secretly didn't like it.
Well, I mean, we've talked about this previously about this film, right? Like,
We don't have to preface everything with that.
Okay, sorry, I'll stop.
I just said.
All right, I know you did.
And Terry Gross is
You
in her
did.
underwear. So
Okay.
sorry, go ahead.
So,
we're
this
working on
does
active
so
listening right
so they talk about how the three different aspects of a trick, and if you know
There's
how
three
the
parts
trick
to a magic
works,
trick. Yeah.
right? If you know how the trick works or what the trick is,
Oh,
then it's not fascinating anymore.
Okay. All right. Good.
So maybe because they showed us what the trick was of the trick of filmmaking, maybe this film is not interesting anymore.
No, I think that's dumb.
Oh, okay.
I think it's just not good, and people had to put up with it and pretend like it was good, and now we're out of it, and it's not.
And now that we're out of the realm of it being
Did you take
fresh and new.
one of my we should have done a different movie.
You think so?
Yeah, I think you took one of my criticisms that's sort of, speaking of prestiges and punchlines and climaxes, that is you took the end of like a really good criticism run by me, which was essentially that, and it's a movie about magic, that tries to apply it to filmmaking, and then, just like a magic trick, once you know the secret, it loses all of its its power and attraction. But that's supposed to be at the end of like an 8-minute talk about, but you just cherry pick the end of it. And
all right, well,
here's what happens in The Prestige.
Okay.
Wolverine and Batman are having a magic fight.
Pretty much.
That's all I want to say.
I think that's sufficient, honestly. A very bitter, vengeful
I can relate.
magic fight.
Yeah.
Yeah? You can?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Any other tricks you want to steal from me?
No. Jeez.
To open at the Pantages?
No, thank you. I'm good.
All right, look, you're going to talk for both of us, I guess. So let me just say real quick, don't remember if I saw it or not. I'm fairly sure I saw it in the theater because I was, like a lot of people, excited about another Christopher Nolan movie, and I didn't like it. And yeah, sure, part of me thought, did I get it? And then I never saw it again because I think, like a lot of people, it just abracadabra disappeared from my mind.
Right.
And now I've rewatched it again, 14 years later, and I was like, yeah, this ain't nothing. I mean, it's like the cage. It's like the cage they put on Hugh Jackman when he wants to do the bird trick.
Sure.
It's elaborate and it's complex and it's brass or something.
Right.
But ultimately, it's just a bird trick, and that's how I feel. It's well put together. They fire all the guns and they do everything they need to do, but it just doesn't. It's overly complex. It raises internal questions about itself as you're watching it. It's like,
It
why am I
does.
watching?
I would agree with that.
You know,
for sure.
this is I mean, it's like it's the perfect example of making all the right choices and taking all the skills and filmmaking tricks, and it's just not. You know, I put all the ingredients in the cake, and I bake the cake, and the
But
cake
it
tastes like
doesn't
shit.
taste right.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's how I feel about it.
Oh.
Now, fill 20 minutes.
Wow, I don't know if I can fill 20 minutes. I enjoyed the film while I was watching it, but maybe like just like thinking about it afterwards, and like, you know, critiquing it a little bit more. Maybe I didn't necessarily. Maybe even though I enjoyed it and I had a pleasant experience watching it, it's not necessarily what I would call a great film. Largely because something that you just touched upon, that it makes you question things in the film while you're watching it, and it's not even like you know, what they call like a refrigerator moment. Like you're not even like thinking about it like after the film. You're like thinking about it like during the film.
I don't think you were questioning anything when you were into this film.
Well, I was into it,
And I think that
but...
the movie now, I mean, with hindsight, you can look at it and see that, and we're just assuming that people, I don't think we'll explicitly spoil stuff, but, you know, we're going to come close to spoilers here, but the things that happen, the prestiges, you know, of the characters' stories, once you know the thing, you can, the movie was screaming it at me the whole time. It's just going,
That's very true.
Nothing up my sleeve, and it's misdirecting you. And so this is why I think that like lazy film critics, and people who do film criticism were like, this is his theory on movie making, and it's like, this is his theory on movie making. He hates his audience and thinks they're really dumb, I think. But it can do all those things, and you know, like I said before, still not produce anything, but it does it well. And so you had no idea.
No,
even up
I
to
didn't.
the point where, you know, Batman and Wolverine have their really like, shouldn't the movie just end? But they have their really like long, boring climax where they both explain what's been going on the entire movie.
Yep.
And I don't know. It's hard for me to remember, but I'm pretty sure that I had figured out some of it. And so I was like, why are they just explaining all this stuff? Isn't one of them literally dying from a gunshot wound? How can they just go through all this stuff? But as it was all going through, and even up to the last shot, there's something of a reveal.
Yes.
And you were like, you did it again. You did it again. Not Christopher Nolan.
I don't know if I reacted quite like that, but I was, at least for one of the, because they both have their own prestiges, right? We've shot without spoiling. For at least one of the characters, I had no inkling whatsoever.
But how could you?
Yeah, I know.
Because like a magic trick, which is just, hey, random stranger on the street who's probably drunk. This is one of those David Blaine specials.
Yeah,
I guess
sure.
that's where I'm setting this.
Okay.
Like, you don't know me. Here's something that's contextless, but you understand what a tennis ball is, or a number or whatever, and then blah, blah, blah. Whoa, how'd I do that? That's it. That's 90 seconds. That's the whole thing. But in a story with characters that ostensibly you want to explore in this work of dramatic fiction, you can't hide everything from us for the entire time. I think, and now we will just spoil, I think it's way more interesting to examine the lives of two men who have decided to be the same person. And it's a cool reveal if you hadn't figured it out, even though they're screaming it at you the whole movie.
Yeah.
You go, wow, that guy was dedicated to his little tricks. Illusions.
Yeah, right.
Illusions, Danton.
Yeah.
But when you look back, you just think how empty it was. You're like, we were waiting for that the whole time?
Right.
There's so many scenes where he's like, why is he acting like this? And you never know, and you never know, and then you never know, and you never know, and then the end of the movie comes, and you know, and you go, it just would have been so much more interesting to just examine that. But you can't, because you have to hold it back for
You can if you
this
want
reveal.
that reveal at the end.
Yeah. Same thing with like Hugh Jackman's character, other than having Piper Perabo be killed at the beginning or whatever,
right?
Which is a big thing, I guess. But that's a very stock, empty motivation. We never understand his motivations beyond just, I got to get this Christian Bale guy. And at the end of the movie, you find out that he's, he has a peerage and he's been rich the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of like a rich, landed, like aristocrat running away to do magic, joining the circus essentially. I want to know what the motivation was there. Like, that's interesting.
Well, isn't
but you
that-
just hold it
right.
back for one scene near the end where
Yes.
he's like, I have your daughter.
Yeah. Well, and isn't that just it? Like, like you were saying, I agree with you. It would be more interesting if we had actually examined why these two men chose to do what they did, other than the very obvious, I have to be the best and I have to beat this guy, and like, you know,
and plus,
make
plus,
it more complicated.
But how could we know why that's their motivation to be the best? Because we don't even see that.
Mm-hmm.
We just are introduced to them as two young, dumb, full of magic guys, and they really want that magic.
Yeah,
and
right.
like, what happened to Christian Bale that he's like, all right, other me, we gotta be one me.
Right.
Right,
And
you
why
know?
why did they agree to that? Was it, like, as we've talked, you know, like, was it purely to do that one trick? The
Well,
transported man. Was that the only reason?
I mean, the movie focuses around the transported man, the
Yeah.
real transported, the new,
Yes.
the real Ghostbusters,
Right.
the one with the monkey. So, yeah, I guess. But although you could do other things with it, but up until he comes up with the transported man, what's he doing with his life?
Right.
Like, it's just like, does one guy work? Does one guy go and like work for Michael Caine and Ricky Jay, and then the other guy stays at home, does card tricks or something like that? Like what?
No clue.
Plus, they would only be half as good as a regular magician on their own, right?
That's true.
You can if one has to work all the time,
Right.
in my scenario, and the other one has to do card tricks. Hugh Jackman could just Hugh Jackman was, it doesn't seem like he would do a lot of card tricks.
And they talk about how, like, his character
fine,
or the twins or whatever are the quote unquote better magician, and Hugh Jackman's the better showman. Is like one of them like a better magician than the other one, or the better showman, and
the
they
movie-
have to pretend to be bad?
And the movie has no value system because, like the people in ready. Would a guy watch a chorus line?
Yeah.
A chorus line. You have a bunch of characters, nominally 8 characters,
Sure.
who all have different motivations for being here. They all want this job, and they all have varying levels. I'm not going to say morality, but just the way that their value system and why they are doing this. But only like 4 can get the job, right? Mm-hmm. And so the value system of that movie is. And I've never been to an audition like this, but tell me about that time that you had to take your... No, wait, that was Fame. She has to take her shirt off.
Yeah, right.
You had to act like you're eating ice cream. Or, like, what?
Yeah.
This audition just lasts for like 8 hours.
I know.
But anyway, and it doesn't matter. You have to be honest, dance as hard as you can,
Yep.
and that's the virtue, If you have the most virtue, which is in this case talent and the right look, you get it. Mm-hmm. And if you don't get it, you fail.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to join the number at the end, just for fun.
Right.
Everybody gets to put their gold sequin tuxedos on.
Yeah. Right.
So, but in this movie, we don't like. So that's about showmanship, and that's about like believing in yourself, having the heart, singing your heart in your heart song. What is it in this? Because we are introduced to a guy who understands the craft, and he is so committed to it. To cutting off your fingers is nothing when you are agreeing to live half a life.
Right.
And then you've got Danton, who I don't think we have. I don't know. I think we were supposed to get the idea that he's not as good as Christian Bale, but I never really see him slacking. Like we
No, I
follow
don't
him for
either.
most of the movie, and
I
he's
know.
working pretty hard.
Yeah.
But he understands the pageantry of being on stage.
How to sell
He would have
something.
made it into that chorus line. I think.
Yeah. Right.
And the movie never comes down on either side of what's good or bad. Like
No.
you've betrayed this city and magic with your crappy magic ways.
Yeah,
there
right.
there is no value system. It's just 2 self-absorbed pricks ruining everybody's lives.
Pretty much.
Why do I care? Why do I care who
Yeah.
walks away at the end?
Yeah. Right. Well, one of them has a kid, so I guess that's why we have to.
All Christopher Nolan heroes have a kid that Michael Caine is taking care of.
Yes.
Isn't that weird?
It is weird. It's very weird.
So, yeah, I just felt let down by that. I hate watching movies where I'm like, why is any of this happening?
Yeah, I hear you. And why do I care about any of the characters? No,
No,
not really.
I don't hate the characters.
I don't hate them,
and I think that they did a fairly good job of. It's weird because, like, Christian Bale's obviously played like the greatest hero of all time. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Wolverine. And Hugh Jackman has played that as well, but I think when Hugh Jackman is not playing Wolverine, he's playing complicated characters. He often plays a character
Yeah.
who is a hero, but he played Gary Hart. Like he plays like tarnished heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he just plays bad guys. Like he was, wasn't he in a Chappie? I don't know why I picked
Oh
Chappie.
boy, I have no idea.
But
I
I mean,
never saw that.
You know what I
film.
mean?
Yeah.
And then Christian Bale, I think, is kind of the same. Although I think he tends to be more, good or out and out heroic usually, but he's usually put through a lot, be it being, an Empire of the Sun situation, or he's lost a lot of weight because he's the machinist or whatever. But I think this movie basically offers Hugh Jackman up as the villain. Definitely by the
I
end.
think so. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then for the whole second act, we're kind of following him. And sometimes there's a trick, where a movie or a book or a story makes you kind of root for the bad guy.
Right.
But this is more just, we got nobody else. Like, Christian Bale has left the film, and we are just following Hugh Jackman now. And so now he's just the default protagonist.
Right.
And I don't really know why I'm supposed to care about that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know if I would have picked him over Christian Bale, but then there's nothing to hold on to with Christian Bale because we don't know and won't know his motivations
Right.
or the full extent of his life until
Right.
the last 2 minutes of the movie.
Right. And even then there's so many questions.
This magician is choking on the smoke in his act. You know what I mean? Like there's so much obfuscation.
Well,
And I don't know. We talked about the book on Just Enough Trope a little bit, which we haven't read.
Right.
I'm assuming because the book it's just like pop, like fiction, right? Like trash. So I'm assuming that it's got the same reveal schedule.
I'm assuming.
Do you know what I mean? I'm assuming this is just a pretty faithful adaptation, which it's depressing. It's even worse. It'd be one thing if Christopher Nolan read a book that examined like the lives of these three men.
Right.
And then they went, yeah, but I want to focus on the magic part of it. And Ricky Jay says that I should save all that to the end. Okay, that's a choice, but it's just like a bad movie from a bad book.
Well, one other thing too, Tesla's in this, right? And I don't have a problem with that. But he invents something for Hugh Jackman's character, and then all of a sudden, we're already 3/4 of the way through this film. All of a sudden now it's a science fiction piece. And it's like...
Are you doing it again?
Am I?
Yeah, you could have set that. You set that up. You talk about... we got to teach you. You're the Christian Bale, and I'm the Hugh Jackman.
Oh.
And I am comfortable with those designations. What do you think?
I don't know if I'm comfortable with
What happened to your
it.
finger?
What finger? What are you talking about?
Chop them off.
Oh, okay. I didn't get it.
Active
Wow.
listening.
You
You just want to get to the end. You don't care about the showmanship. And
That is not true.
what-
I just wanted to share that before we were done talking about the film.
right, and I guess I cut you off, but I didn't think that you were going to finish. When I said that, when we talked about this on Just Enough Trope, and I brought that up, I said that it's a flaw in the movie's storytelling, which is evident that it was adapted from a book. Because the real problem is that you've got a movie that, the big reveal is that Christian Bale is two people,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Which will easy to show with CGI or whatever, and we'll do that at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the big reveal. But then also in the movie, you have a character who wants to copy that trick, that act.
Yes.
And so he needs to find somebody that looks like him.
I know what you're going to say. Yep.
No, I thought this is what you were supposed to be saying, though. Instead, you just cut to the end and went, why do they have a double with the thing and then double in the guy? And my point is, they have a character who is not Hugh Jackman's character, but looks like him, and it's played by Hugh Jackman, which in any other movie, I suppose, fine. Also, it wouldn't matter in a book, because in a book, you can just write, and he looked a lot like him, and we're fine.
Right.
But you chose to have that character be played by the actor that plays the character that he looks like. Then, yes, suddenly it's a science fiction movie, and you've got the science fiction element is that he is making doubles of himself.
Right.
And it doesn't, I mean, you can just push through that, but it adds this cognitive dissonance that's like, why'd you decide to do, there's nobody that you can get that just kind of looks like Hugh Jackman, or you just put a thing on him or something. Also, nobody has Wigdar in this universe. Wigdar doesn't exist.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody,
right?
every scene,
or
some
like
guy
facial
just
hair
glues
dar.
some mutton chops on or a
Yes.
beard or something like that.
Right.
Also, Christian Bale has like the most recognizable eye mole in the world, so he should have taken that chisel once he was done with his fingers and then
Got to the
put it
eye
up to
mole.
the face.
Wow.
No amount of mutton chops can hide that eye mole,
No, that's true.
or a cowl or whatever.
Do you think there has ever been an example of like a film presenting itself as a certain kind of story and then throwing in like a different element, like over 50% the way through,
Yeah.
that has worked?
Oh, okay. Well, you got me there, because I don't have a mute on my phone, but I also don't have. Is it RAM or ROM? Like, what is it?
I don't know.
I don't have an excess. I only have long-term storage memory. I don't have
Okay.
like.
All right.
So yes,
I know that's a big ask, but
definitely. Well, The Matrix.
okay.
The Matrix is ostensibly a movie about a computer hacker who's in trouble with the government, and then it's like, no, that's not what it's about at all.
Yeah.
Or it is about that, but in a much more magnified way than you would expect.
Right.
But that's the example that I'll give you. Yeah,
Okay.
there's plenty of movies like that.
Okay.
Or like,
'Cause I
you
don't
seen
know.
Vanilla Sky?
What was that?
Have you seen Vanilla Sky?
The what guy?
Have you seen Vanilla Sky? I know that it's two weird words put together.
Yes, I have seen Vanilla Sky. I don't remember it very well, but
Well,
I
it's
have
based on
seen
a
it.
Spanish film
Yeah.
called Obre los Hoyos, and they're both about one thing, and they're not really about that. And they're about that one thing until about the last 5 minutes.
Okay.
It's how do you say M. Night Shyamalan in
Yeah, right.
Spanish?
Right.
And you want to take my thing about bits too, or bits about twists? Do my bit about twists.
I don't know. You do it. You do it.
No, we're almost out of time.
I don't know what your thing about twists is.
You absolutely do. Twists are only good when they recontextualize
when you rewatch
what you've
them.
already seen.
Yeah. Okay.
And
yes.
I will give this movie a thumbs up for that, because even though I don't really like what happens in the movie and it's not really interesting to me, the twist does, it's that last piece.
Yeah.
But a good movie should be definitely watched more than once.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a movie is a one and done type thing unless
No.
it's Requiem for a Dream. I don't ever want to see that again, but it was great.
Okay.
I'm not going to watch it again. But you shouldn't have to watch a movie twice to get it.
Right.
It'd be like going to a restaurant and they go, "Oh, the food's great here," and you go, "It's terrible." And they go, "We'll come back tomorrow." Oh,
it's
good.
delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, I get
Yeah,
it now.
no.
Such a subtle play of flavors.
Right.
I don't know. I just feel like something that you only have one chance to see. Like, what if the cinema burns down, or what if the movie goes in the vault, or something like that? Like,
Right.
you should be able to get something out of it the first time. You definitely should be able to get something out of it the more you watch it. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I agree. I wonder if like.
So did I finish my twist bit? It doesn't really matter. You just
Did you?
listen to Just Enough Trope. Doesn't matter.
Do you think it would have been less jarring? Well, I guess I already know the answer to this. It would have been maybe less jarring if they had like peppered scientific stuff in throughout, or maybe I'm just like focusing on that like too much.
Well, I mean, it's something. It sticks out.
It does.
It's also, it's any Victorian story is in danger of having sci-fi elements thrown into it. I think there's a whole genre
right
where they fly blimps and wear goggles, and it's just all Victoriana.
Yeah.
This is Edwardiana.
right.
Although, is that too feminine? This is like Edward shit. Better. And so, this is, I mean, Tesla's monkeying with coils, and there's electric lights now, and you've got all kinds of... The world's changing. But this, I don't know about the book, but the movie never nods to that in any way. And this second time watching it through, actually, after the first time, too, I was like, is part of the theme supposed to be that, like, special effects and convenience... and fast food and Happy Meals are overtaking the kind of patient craftsmanship that Bale, a magician like Bale, puts into it.
Huh.
Jackman just wants
Wow.
fancy gadgets. He doesn't have the skill, but the gadgets can replace that skill. And ultimately, Bale, the classic man of antiquity, is eliminated by, or at least defeated by the application of science and technology.
And money.
Fictional science and technology.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the money thing's probably more accurate for our future. But no, the movie. No, I just
No, it
dragged
doesn't
that
really
out of the
play
movie.
into
The movie's
that
not
at
doing
all.
that at all.
No, it's not.
So yeah, I just think that the inclusion of the science fiction is just. How else would you do it? You couldn't do it without science
yeah,
fiction.
I know. I don't know how you would finish it. How you would do the
Well,
prestige.
what you could do
unless
is-
like he would work
brings
with
his-
his double.
He brings his double back. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then he kills his double and frames Bale for the death of his double. But then you don't have like the mystery and like, oh, well, I guess Hugh Jackman's out of the movie now, and
Right.
he's not because he has to come back in because I was the Lord the whole time. But he could have, he kills the double,
Yes.
but makes it seem like it was him, so he can get rid of like Angier and that whole part of his life, send Bale to prison. We just fixed the movie.
You're right.
And
You're
then there's-
right.
there's
then
no-
we see he's still capable of killing because he kills himself
Yeah.
how many times?
Yeah. Well, that's just suicide, I guess.
I guess.
A lot of suicide.
A lot of suicide.
Gosh darn it. I think this is why this movie and Christopher Nolan sticks around. It's because we're still talking about it. I hate this
I
movie.
think you're
Let's talk about
right.
it for another half an hour.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Well, let's talk about a movie that I do love and
Yes.
is also not as good as I
Oh.
think it is. But
Uh-oh.
we can talk about that.
Yeah.
The movie I picked was a 1996 film called Brain Candy.
Yes.
I hesitated there because I guess it's probably Kids in the Hall Brain Candy.
Yeah, I think so.
But Brain Candy, basically.
Yeah, basically.
A feature film from the Kids in the Hall,
Mm-hmm.
Canadian sketch group from the early to mid-90s, who are coming back because you got to recycle everything now.
Oh boy. Yep.
They're coming back on Amazon. And, I'm happy. I'm glad for that. Like,
Yeah.
I like them.
Yeah.
But it's just part of this pattern.
I would not disagree.
I can't wait for Scrubs to come back.
Don't wish that.
Now
on us.
he's the mean doctor in charge, right?
Oh yeah.
Who died? Did the janitor guy die?
I don't remember who died. I
Somebody-
feel like somebody died.
Yeah, somebody died.
This is gonna haunt me.
Really?
I
I'm
don't
going to
know.
forget about it right now.
Okay.
What happens in Brain Candy?
So what happens in Brain Candy? There's a pharmaceutical company, and there are some scientists at this pharmaceutical company, and they are testing a brand new drug that gets rid of depression and locks on to your happiest memory. And
Chemically.
And so you're kind of always thinking about your happiest memory, so you're always happy.
It's like it's 72 degrees in your head all the time.
And right, and the CEO of the company needs a new drug right now, and the scientist whose drug it is and his team feels like they need to do more research, but he doesn't want to get fired, so he's like, yeah, it's ready. So they go to market with this drug. It's a huge hit. And several months go by, and then he finds out that one of the test animals is in a happiness coma, and then he finds out that other people have taken the drug. So he's gotta get to the bottom of this, get it to the media, and try to figure this out and fix this problem that he has created.
Starring Noah Wiley.
Yeah.
No, this is a comedy. It didn't sound like you
yeah.
described
Sorry,
a comedy.
this is a comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But besides the main characters, the actors who were the leads and the Kids in the Hall, they play multiple different roles.
Yeah.
So
As far as, like you mentioned, lead characters, they're all played by Kids in the Hall
yes,
people.
yes,
As per usual, as is their thing. There are a couple... Boy, it's been a while since I've seen the show. There's a couple characters from the show that they squeeze into the movie, but
okay.
not... Like, I can't remember if Cancer Boy was on the show or not.
Oh, it almost seems like he was, but I don't know.
I know the cops or the RCMP guys or whatever.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's Metro Police. They're in the show, and yeah, there's some other guys, but it's not like we got to get head pinching guy his own movie. It's nothing like that.
I remember head
It's that this
pinching
isn't
guy.
an it's Pat situation. These are
Right,
all
right,
new
right.
characters.
Right. And Brendan Fraser's in this really
Yeah,
briefly.
I know.
So
It's
randomly.
well Canadian.
Yeah,
You
right.
think he was just like, God, I love the show, guys. You think I can just because this is like mid '90s. This is like Brendan Fraser's coming
This
up.
is peak Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah.
Well, no, Mummy would be peak Brendan Fraser, and that would be like 98,
Oh, okay.
97 maybe.
Yeah, but he was still, at the very least, up and coming, right?
Oh yes.
So
this is George in the Jungle. This
he
is.
must be a fan. He
Yeah.
must be.
Well, yeah, like I said, he's Canadian. They stick together. What'd you think?
So I liked it. I have seen this film before, but I do not remember it at all.
Then you haven't seen it.
So, so it was like a brand new film for me. Yeah, it's funny. It's irreverent. There's what?
How did you feel about it? Not like the Rex Reed blurb in TV Guide.
Whatever.
It's funny and irreverent. These clowns do some jackanapes that will. No.
No, I thought it was very funny. There's just it's a lot of like it's very goofy. I guess is kind of how I would
Yeah.
say.
I was watching it and thinking, wow, why wouldn't people like this? Because this movie crashed and burned. Like that, there's a reason that they didn't make another movie. There's a reason that their show went out the air. There's a reason that you can't find this anywhere. I don't think this is streaming anywhere. You might be able to buy it on Amazon, but you can't get this anywhere.
Right.
And
Right.
and I think that'll change. One of the reasons I think they're bringing all these old acts back is so they can repackage and sell DVD sets.
Probably.
Right? Yeah.
Wouldn't hurt, right?
So you might see this again in the future, and if you do, I say pick it up. But yeah, when I was watching it, you're right about the gags that are just goofy.
Mm-hmm.
There's some real. We'll get to it. And then also I think there's a little too much, and I think it comes from their work as they were never like improvisational
Sure.
sketch guys, I don't think, but they were comfortable with negative space, and they were committed to making sure the character is a thing and not just he looked like a man or whatever. Like they always built these
right.
characters usually that were, except for Dave Foley, who that could
Fully
exist on their
realized.
own,
Yeah,
outside of the sketch. And so there's not the joke to time ratio. It isn't like the 3 laughs or a laugh every 3 seconds or whatever. There are some things that rely on pausing. There are things that rely on kind of a slower burn.
Yeah.
To get to maybe an underwhelming punchline. I don't know. But
Well,
as I was
and I
watching
think-
this, I was just thinking,
yeah.
like, this is, if you this wouldn't even get published today. They say go back and put some more jokes in it. But yeah, I don't know. Like it's if you like the show, it's exactly that kind of humor still.
Mm-hmm.
And in some ways, it's even more of that kind of humor. Oh, the Queen, of course, the Queen is on the show all the time too.
Oh, okay, sure.
So they have her in
Right.
this real quick.
I think a lot of the jokes are very, are based off of like visual cues and things that you would like, just see. Like if you weren't listening, you wouldn't necessarily know that there was like a joke.
Yeah, well, usually people watch movies with their eyes.
I know, but I just mean like I don't know, like the whole like just the way that they do things. Like there's this one part where like the CEO is talking to Chris Cooper, who's the guy who invented the drug, and Chris is like, "Don't point your finger at me. Get your finger out of my face." And he like shoves his finger out of his face, like, but it's not like violent, and it's but it's really silly. But he does it like multiple times, and it gets progressively funnier,
Yeah.
And then, like, later we see he's got this really weird, horrible metal contraption over that one finger, and it's like...
So, I've puzzled over this for years, and I'm sure the information is available if I go look for it, but he's doing Lorne Michaels.
Oh! My God.
producer of the film, and,
I
the,
didn't
and the Kids
think
in the
about
Hall
that, but yes, that makes
television show.
perfect sense.
He beat Mike Myers to press because this came out in '96. Austin Powers was '97. So close your eyes and listen to I offer you these things, Chris, and they'll be yours eventually. Like it's just Dr. Evil, right?
No,
And so
you're
Dr.
right.
Evil's got the finger.
Yes.
He does a pinky, but that's apparently a tick that Lorne Michaels does. He goes, okay, cut it, that sort of thing. And so they were just, instead of doing it in every scene like Mike Myers does, I think they were just trying to accentuate like that body part. Also, it's weird because these were probably in development at the same time, this and Austin Powers, but he even comes out in like a Nero suit at the end. Like he looks like Dr. No.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Like, what is Mike? Then suddenly, a year later, a movie comes out, and Mike Myers just steals the bit.
Does Lorne Michaels have a suit like that? He must, right?
No, I don't. I don't think he. There's no way. You couldn't get away with that. But anyway, that's what's going on there. So all the
that makes so much more sense.
mannerisms
and wow, yeah.
I can imagine some SNL. Writer or star, facing him down over a desk and him being like, "Is it ready or not?" So that explains that.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just it's comedy based on depressing sadness, on ennui.
Yes.
And I think that does characterize their comedy in general. But I can also, it's another strike for like, why wouldn't people like this? Because like the whole goal of the movie is everybody's too happy, and then they have to try to make them sad somehow.
I know.
And
even
they're
like excited that they made an old lady sad.
957, yeah. Like even her happiest memory is this like depressing, like exaggerated view
that's
of
just
like
it,
elder
right?
abuse and neglect.
Yeah, like everybody's happiest memories are just like they're the worst, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not great.
Yeah, there can't be any like honest joy in this movie. Although Grievo seems to be having a good time once he starts taking the pill.
Who is Grievo the?
He was too depressed to go on.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, he seems like he's having a good time. I don't know. The closeted husband seems like he's enjoying himself a little bit more.
Let's finish up Grievo, and
Okay.
then we'll move on to that. And that's probably going to be through the end of the show. Yeah, love Grievo, and I want to call out Bruce McCullough specifically, who, I mean, they're all talented comedians and character actors and sketch actors, but I don't know what it is about him. Like he's got a certain look, and you think it would only really fit for one thing. And I think a lot of his characters, on the show, were like that sort of character of like, whatever, man, I don't care. I'm the thug that's going to come in and disrupt this scene somehow, But he's so good in this movie. He plays Alice the whole time. Who's not a very deep character, but kind of funny.
She's very sweet, and she gets freaked out and just runs away kind of goofily.
Yeah, and very repressed, and
it
just in that theme of like, you're not special, shut up. Like at the end, like when Chris is like, why don't you take the drug? And then she's like, yeah, you take the drug. And then the other guy's like, shut up. She's like, oh. But yeah, they're all great. And Grievo is,
oh my gosh.
I can't remember if he was on the show or not. I would have remembered, right?
I mean, okay,
It's
so
the whole
the whole setup
spin-off
for that
him.
is great, right? Like the just the music for that song, just like how hardcore and like depressing it is, right?
Some
and like the
nights it's
band's
dark.
right.
Some nights I work.
Yeah, and like
I work alone.
and like the band is just like
Hey,
rocking out.
Stop.
Right.
Stop. This is bullshit. The brunette groupie
She looked familiar.
as Redax.
Oh,
And we
okay.
snap that one shut and we move on to Scott Thompson.
Whoa.
I've heard that just because a member of that community is doing it doesn't make it okay. That's
Okay.
what I've heard.
Yeah, that is what I've heard as well.
However, how could a person who is part of that community would have the deepest insights and would be able to explore people's, stereotypes and opinions about gay people to the point where they could create something that somebody else tried to do would be uninformed.
Sure.
Right?
I would think so.
And that's how I'm justifying the park bathroom bit.
Oh my gosh.
Which is
I know, right?
although they bring it back later and it's really funny.
They do with a lab.
It's all yours, Cap.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But the closeted dad is like one of my favorite characters. And his family is just so
They all know, and they're so happy for him.
that he's finally gay, or he can accept that he's gay. And even in the song, in the little march in the song they do at the end, like there's even they kept that little bit of denial because he's like, I once was straight, but now I'm gay. I think the drug made me that way.
Yeah, right.
Even in his fully realized state, just can't let go of it. But,
Yes.
But I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to tell just because I don't think something's offensive. Doesn't mean that it isn't offensive to other people. But I feel like this is
fair.
It gets pass. Although when he was playing that club kid in the back of the cab, I think he might have been in a color face though.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, he was a little darker than a Canadian guy.
Well, that's maybe not okay.
So, but anyway,
I was gonna say, so I've seen Dave Foley in a bunch of other stuff, but I haven't really seen the other actors in Kids in the Hall and other things. Is that because they're Canadian, or have they just not? Like, I know Dave Foley's been in like U.S. stuff, so maybe that's why I've seen him more. So I'm maybe I'm just ignorant.
Do you know a show called Slings and Arrows?
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, if you remember Slings and Arrows, the
Yes.
guy who runs the theater manager.
Yes.
He is one of the kids in the hall.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And that's another Canadian show, if I remember right.
Yeah,
right?
that's Mark McKinney. He shows up in some stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know.
Like, what's the deal? Like, if they're all funny, they're all talented. So why aren't they in more things? Do they have
independently wealthy?
Maybe
5 independently wealthy
Canadian
Canadian
that seems
men.
kind of weird, right? Like, are they do they do stand up? Do they do, you know what I mean? Do they do a lot of writing? Because did some of them write on the show too and write the movie?
They wrote everything.
Okay. maybe they focus on their writing. Maybe they do more writing these days. I mean, I know they're going back and doing the show again, so obviously there's a desire to do that.
There was a website that could tell us this.
Okay.
All
right.
Am the best person to ask about IMDb. Just look it up on IMDb.
I know that's what you were doing before you started doing the acronym thing.
Well, way to join in the bit.
What? Jeez.
You leave the hall, go into the room. You are not one of the kids.
Wow.
But just like the way that they create characters, even if they're only going to be there for a little bit.
Yeah.
We had the montage of unhappy people at the beginning, and then
yeah, right.
She's like, "Come on, baby, come on, you gotta take me back." And she's like, "Why would you sleep with my sister?"
Yeah, right.
And he's like, "You stole that car. I stole it to make it up for you. Yeah, I slept with your sister. Don't shoot the messenger."
I know.
You're never gonna see them again.
No.
Or the groupies, there's the 2 actual female actresses.
Yes.
And then Mark McKinney is one of them.
Yes.
And just this little detail of Esri Dax burns her arm with a cigarette, and then is like, and then she's starts dancing, and the girl's like, "Oh my god!"
I know.
But then she starts kind of dancing like she is, and just she's just a poser basically.
Yeah.
I don't want to put that on her, but it
She's
just captures
her.
But we've all this experience of being around somebody who we think is cool or is cooler than us, and we're trying to
emulate them
and mimic them.
Yes.
And that's 15 seconds.
Yes.
15 seconds. This 3-dimensional character. Boom.
Yeah. Right. And I think that's really neat. And the other scientist guys that they brought in at the beginning, those are other characters, fully realized characters that we won't see again.
I'm an elephant rider.
Yeah.
I've said that more than once.
Okay.
Or the scientist that they're, you know, so what are you working on? He's like, I've made a pill that gives worms to ex-girlfriends.
I know.
And it's the board is like, they're on board with worms. They just want to make sure that it can cross the aisle. Would it give worms to ex-boyfriends as well?
I know. I love that that's the
People don't get
point.
it.
I know.
Just like just a character who will just die on any dumb hill. You know what I mean? That they believe in.
Yeah, exactly. And then even like the lady who was like their first test patient, like her horrible son and his wife, like they agree to come to the party because they get a check for $10,000.
Right.
You know,
And they're gonna put her in the comatory.
Yeah, and I don't think they would be there without that check. You know what I mean? And yeah,
They're their old girl.
yeah, right.
We know you'll be taken care of in Rorator's comatoriums.
Or like Chris Cooper's dad, who like weirdly pets his forehead.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. And like he's so depressed, he walks up the stairs of the house and his briefcase opens.
Yeah, that's a
and
good.
the papers
That's
fly
the
out
classics are the best. That's an old but good sight gag.
Mm-hmm.
Did you give the house a good cleaning today? Yeah. Yeah, it's dark. This scene is happens right before a man takes 2 hours to kill himself with a gun.
I know.
Yeah. So it's dark.
It's very dark.
But there are these little bright lights of these kind of character bits, and one of my favorite characters is Bruce McCulloch and Cisco, the marketing.
Oh my
the
gosh!
head of marketing.
Yeah, he's gross, right?
But he's got an arc. Like he's such a prick.
Yes.
And then this drug works, and so Dr. Cooper, rises and becomes his assistant basically.
Yeah.
So it's just like top of the world. Everybody's laughing at his jokes to having to follow this nerdy, Chris Cooper around. Chris Cooper's an actor, by the way. He's that actor. We talked about him on some show previously. He's that actor that you bring in who's like, we need a redneck, and he's like, oh boy, I'm a redneck.
Yeah, I know.
And it's too bad because he's a really good actor.
He's the dad in American Beauty, right?
He's the next door dad that collects Nazi memorabilia.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's the closeted dad.
Yes.
Not funny. I don't think the kids in the hall can make that funny.
No.
But he's a prick, and then he kind of gets his comeuppance because a bird flies into his eye.
I know.
I don't know why.
I think maybe it's supposed to mimic the story of the bird flying into his
windshield. But if we're going to complain about like the Prestige's like script problems,
I know,
like why do they go back to a bird?
I don't know. It's so random.
I mean, it gives him like he looks like number two in Austin Powers.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Did Mike Myers show his script to Mark McKinney, do you think? And Mark McKinney's like, watch this. This is going to drive him nuts.
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
This is going to drive him so nuts. In about 20, 25 years, he's going to host a game show as a fictional character.
I know.
That's weird. Let me finish my Cisco story.
Okay.
The thought. No. So they're sitting at the table, and now, Chris Cooper's a monster, and he's like, I gotta see more dogs. And everybody's arguing around the table, and then they don't even show it, but the dog's like, ruh, ruh. I thought that was like the dog was like arguing too. You get that scene in a movie, or a play where it's like, you did that, and you would, and everybody's like, indistinct argument, and then the dog's like, ruh, ruh, ruh.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
And then Cisco, like the lady who's the only woman on the board who's just,
I know.
She's dumb, but she definitely takes a lot of abuse, and she's like, oh, do you mean your coffee's lukewarm? It's like, no, it's Luke Skywalker. And people are like, ha, 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 it's good.
Yeah, right.
And you can see, like, 5 emotions go over his face, because he's sort of like, what's that sound? Oh, it's laughter. Oh, they're laughing at me. Yeah, I'm back on top.
Yeah.
Ooh, not too much.
Right?
It's just these little worlds that these characters, like, exist in.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's really good.
What's the new Tiffany Haddish movie? Do you think
I don't even
that happens in her movie?
No. You said before we started talking about this, you didn't think this was maybe necessarily as good as you had
Well,
remembered it being.
I know we've spent the last 25 minutes talking about all the punchlines and stuff, but I said active listening at the beginning of the segment. I laid out all the reasons why it would not be really acceptable now.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, gotcha.
Because of Tiffany Haddish.
And wow.
Not her specifically, but just the ilk of, I'm a comedian who has had a meteoric rise for some reason. I'm Dane Cook, and so here's Good Luck Chuck, which I'm
Right.
sure is hilarious.
Right.
But I haven't seen it.
No, I haven't either.
Any last thoughts about Brain Candy?
I would recommend it.
I bet that title's forced on them.
You think so?
I bet they had some like weird title, or let's just call it the Kids in the Hall movie, and they're like, nah, we need something that we can put on materials.
Catchy.
The real world Cisco. comes
Yeah,
in.
right. Eye patch.
Suck it up, you ugly sponges. And then they were like, oh, we thought Brain Candy? Because it's in your brain.
Yeah. I thought that, I mean, this is maybe a silly thing, but I thought that the drug actually looked really cool when they were testing it. Like, it's like blue and it's like all funky shaped and everything. And then like the drug company gets their hands on it and it looks like a fancy butterscotch.
Yeah.
know?
Well, it probably was a fancy part for the prop, but yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you for joining me, members of the media, college radio,
Yeah.
Weapons and Helmets magazine,
Yeah.
and of course Teen Beat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you could even do, if Austin Powers, I don't know, Mike Myers needs to fill up the coffers again and brings Austin Powers back.
Yeah. What, now you're
This
worried
is going
that
out
you put
live,
out
so
in
we
the
can't
world?
destroy it. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's going to come back.
he's got to do like Bourne, right?
Oh.
So it's all shaky cam, right?
As Austin
Tell Jay
Powers.
Roach to take a break and get Paul Greengrass in here.
Yeah, sure.
But anyway, if they do that, you'd have to like that's the kind of humor that we're talking about, because you go like, well, I can see that you're X, Y, and Z, and then we reverse, cut to whatever it is, and the guy's like, whoa, he's wearing something crazy or something.
Right. No,
I think that's dead, right? They don't really do that anymore.
no, they don't really do that
I'm not saying they have to keep doing it, like the
No.
world moves on, but
Yeah, right.
that's what this is. This
Yeah.
movie stands on the precipice, I think, of old comedy and new comedy, and that sounds
Sure.
way more noble and important than it probably is, but I enjoy it.
Yeah.
All right, we stretched pretty much everything we can get out of that, I think.
Okay.
So let's wind it down. What did we learn?
What did we learn?
No, we don't have time for you to think about it.
Oh,
You
okay.
just say something.
We learned that maybe don't tell us what your trick is, and maybe we'll enjoy it more. And we also learned that you gotta test your drugs all the way, man. And Grievo is awesome. That's what we learned.